Stand in front of a mirror. You don't choose whether it reflects you, it just does. Manifestation works the same way. It's automatic. The field is a mirror of your nervous system. Every slump of your shoulders, every flicker of frustration is already collapsing reality around you. That's because manifestation is not a technique, it's not a method, and it's not something you start doing when you get spiritual enough. It's happening in every single breath, in every reaction, in every unconscious signal your body is broadcasting. You can't not manifest. The only question is, are you aware of what you're manifesting? Imagine someone sitting in traffic, gripping the wheel, muttering under their breath. They think they're just frustrated. But what they're actually doing is training their nervous system, signaling their body chemistry, and broadcasting a vibrational field that keeps pulling more resistance into their experience. Now picture another person scrolling on their phone, comparing themselves to others. Their heart sinks, shoulders slump. That isn't harmless. That micro-collapse of posture and emotion is literally a transmission, a blueprint that the field around them is reading. Manifestation is not optional. It is constant. It is the natural consequence of consciousness interfacing with energy, and this is why so many people feel like it isn't working. They believe manifestation only happens when they sit down to visualize or script their desires. But quantum physics shows something radically different. Observation itself alters probability. And neuroscience shows the brain is firing, wiring and creating networks not only when you act, but when you imagine, when you anticipate, when you rehearse. Every scenario you replay, every argument you rehearse in the shower, every doubt you quietly entertain, that is manifestation in motion. You're not waiting for manifestation to start. You're immersed in it, constantly collapsing waveforms into form through the totality of your being. Here's the paradox. The more you try to manifest, the more you declare that you're separate from it. Effort shouts, "I don't have it." Strain broadcasts, "I'm missing something." And the field simply reflects what you are, not what you think you want. You've been conditioned to believe manifestation is a task, but biologically and quantum mechanically, it's your baseline state. Just as your lungs cannot stop breathing and your heart cannot stop beating, your consciousness cannot stop creating, which means the real art is not about starting, but about remembering, not about forcing, but about aligning. Think of an actor on stage. Whether they know their lines or not, whether they stumble or shine, the play is still happening. The spotlight is still on. Reality is that stage, and you are always performing, always transmitting. The only difference is, are you conscious of the role you are embodying, or are you improvising the same old script from fear and doubt? And this is where embodiment enters the picture, because manifestation is not just about thought. The heart and brain generate electromagnetic fields that extend beyond the body, measurable, real. Coherence between them amplifies that signal. Incoherence scrambles it. That means your posture, your breath, your emotional state aren't side effects. They are the broadcast tower. If this is clicking for you, drop one word in the comments. The frequency you choose to embody this week. It could be clarity, joy, peace, expansion, because naming it begins the process of embodying it. Most people live as if manifestation is a lottery ticket they haven't yet won. But manifestation is closer to metabolism. It's happening regardless of your awareness. Just as the food you eat becomes your cells without you consciously directing it, the signals you send are, through thought, emotion, physiology, are continuously becoming the events and opportunities that surround you. So the question is not, how do I manifest? The real question is, am I manifesting unconsciously or deliberately? You don't need to learn how to manifest. You need to learn how to regulate your nervous system so that your body isn't stuck broadcasting fear. You need to become aware of the identity you're rehearsing in thought, and you need to recognize that coherence is stronger than control, not by forcing, by frequency, not by trying, by becoming. And in the next step of this journey, I want to take you deeper into the science of how your brain and body wire new identities, and how that process is the hidden engine of every manifestation you've ever experienced. The first thing to understand is that your brain is not a fixed machine. It's a living, rewiring organ sculpted by repetition, attention, and emotion. Every time you rehearse a thought, whether it's I'm always behind, or things never work out for me, your neurons fire together, wire together, and create networks that become easier and easier to access. That's neuroplasticity. The brain doesn't ask, is this helpful? It only asks, is this repeated? Which means your repeated state becomes your reality map, and then your reality conforms to the map you've built inside. Imagine a student sitting at their desk, staring at a blank page, telling themselves, I can't do this. In that moment, their brain is reinforcing circuitry for powerlessness. Their shoulders slump, their breath shortens, and the body seals the contract by embodying the very frequency of defeat. That's not metaphorical, it's measurable. Cortisol rises, heart rhythm destabilizes, and the electromagnetic field projected from the heart becomes jagged, incoherent. Now compare that to a musician rehearsing a difficult passage on their instrument. At first it feels impossible, but through repetition the neural circuits strengthen, muscles remember, and what once felt foreign becomes fluid. The same principle applies to identity. If you rehearse scarcity, it becomes your fluency. If you rehearse alignment, it becomes your second nature. That's why manifestation is not about tricking the universe into giving you something. It's about training your nervous system and your neural networks to embody the state where that outcome is inevitable. This is where quantum physics meets neurobiology. The observer effect shows us that observation collapses probability into reality. But neuroscience shows us that observation isn't just external. It includes inner observation, the mental rehearsals, the images you run in your mind. When you play out a future self who is confident, abundant, grounded, your brain fires as if it is already happening. And when you repeat it enough, your body begins to believe it. Hormones shift, posture changes, and suddenly your electromagnetic field is broadcasting a new instruction to reality. But here's the trap. Most people rehearse unconsciously. They rehearse doubt while scrolling, jealousy while comparing, fear while checking their bank account. They don't realize those invisible rehearsals are powerful rituals. They are manifesting scripts, except written in the language of lack. Which means the work isn't about learning a new manifestation technique. It's about catching yourself in the act of unconscious rehearsal and choosing to redirect the scene. You become the director instead of the actor trapped in autopilot. Think of it like this. Your brain is the composer, your nervous system is the orchestra, and your electromagnetic field is the music that the world hears. Most people let the music play on shuffle, discordant, chaotic. But coherence is when you choose the score. You don't force it with effort. You conduct it with presence. And when coherence locks in, heart and brain aligned, nervous system regulated, identity rehearsed deliberately, reality has no choice but to harmonize. This is why manifestation is your natural state. You cannot turn off the orchestra. The only choice is, do you let it play discord or do you choose harmony? Do you rehearse fear or do you rehearse freedom? Do you embody lack or do you embody wholeness? The field is listening. The neurons are wiring. The stage lights are on. Whether you realize it or not, you are always performing the script that reality will mirror back. And in the next flow, I want to take you deeper into embodiment itself, how your physiology is not just a side effect of thought, but the literal amplifier that determines the strength and clarity of your manifestation signal. Because once you understand embodiment, you stop chasing change and start transmitting it. Embodiment is the missing link most people overlook. You can think positive all day long. You can write affirmations until your hand cramps. But if your body is tense, your breath shallow, your heart rhythm chaotic, the signal is scrambled. Reality doesn't respond to words. It responds to coherence. And coherence is felt, not spoken. Imagine walking into a room where someone is smiling politely, saying, "I'm fine," but you can feel in your chest that something is off. That's because your nervous system is reading their electromagnetic field, not their language. Manifestation works the same way. The field does not decode your words. It decodes your embodiment. Science shows that the heart generates a field measurable several feet beyond the body, and that field shifts dramatically depending on whether you're in stress or coherence. When you're in fear, your heart rhythm becomes jagged, sending incoherent signals to your brain. That incoherence limits higher-order thinking, traps you in survival mode, and keeps your body rehearsing lack. When you regulate, through breath, presence, awareness, the heart and brain fall into rhythm, coherence rises, and suddenly your entire system becomes an amplifier. That's embodiment, when the body isn't contradicting the mind but broadcasting the same frequency. Take the scenario of someone obsessively refreshing their email, waiting for an opportunity. Their mind is saying, "I want this to happen," but their body is curled forward, jaw tight, chest constricted, nervous system in fight or flight. The signal being broadcast is not openness, it's desperation. Now imagine instead they take a step back, regulate their breath, expand their posture, allow the possibility to arrive. In that embodied state, the nervous system signals safety, the heart broadcasts coherence, and the mind's intention finally has a clear channel to transmit. That's the difference between chasing and receiving. Another example, someone rehearses confidence in their mind, but keeps walking with their shoulders slumped, eyes down. The embodiment cancels the thought. The brain may be whispering, "I'm powerful," but the body is shouting, "I'm small." And the field responds to the body's shout, not the brain's whisper. This is why identity work cannot just stay in the head. You must practice being the version of you, in breath, in movement, in expression, before the evidence arrives. Not pretending, but practicing. Not faking, but rehearsing until your body believes it. Think of a dancer. They don't just imagine the choreography. They embody it over and over until their muscles remember. Manifestation requires the same rehearsal. When you embody gratitude, not as a thought but as a physical openness of the chest, a rhythm of breath, a warmth in the nervous system, that's the choreography the field responds to. The universe doesn't wait for your words, it reads the dance of your body. And this is liberating because it means you don't have to control reality, you only have to conduct your state. Control contracts, embodiment expands. Control says, "I must force the outcome." Embodiment says, "I align my field and the outcome aligns to me." That's why it's not about trying harder. It's about becoming clearer, not by strain, by state, not by logic, by signal. If this is resonating, pause for a moment and actually feel it. Drop your shoulders. Breathe deeper. Imagine your heart and brain syncing like two instruments tuning to the same key. That simple act is manifestation in motion. You've shifted your frequency. You've changed your transmission. And that shift is already rippling outward. In the next expansion, I want to show you how surrender is not passivity, but physics. Why letting go isn't about giving up, but about removing resistance so the probability you desire can actually collapse into form. This is where the paradox resolves, and manifestation finally stops feeling like struggle. Surrender has been so misunderstood. People hear the word and think it means giving up, sitting back, doing nothing. But in physics, surrender is not weakness, it is the removal of interference. Think of a scientist in a laboratory, setting up an experiment. They don't try to control every particle with their hands. They set the conditions, align the instruments, and then allow the system to reveal its outcome. That's surrender, not absence of intention, but absence of resistance. And in manifestation, resistance is the constant attempt to force reality into shape, which only reinforces the signal of lack. Consider someone lying awake at night, looping over how to make it happen. Their body is tense, heart racing, nervous system flooded. The harder they push, the more the body screams, "It's not safe, it's not here yet." That incoherence broadcasts delay. Now imagine another person in the same situation, but they regulate their breath, allow their mind to soften, and surrender the need to know how. In that shift, their body drops resistance, coherence rises, and the possibility has room to collapse into form. This is not mystical, it's physics. A wave cannot collapse into a particle while you are grasping at it. Only when observation is steady, clear, and non-resistant does the outcome crystallize. The paradox is this: the more you try to grab, the further it slips. The more you allow, the faster it aligns. Not because the universe plays games, but because resistance is incoherence. Coherence is surrender, and coherence is the real magnet. Think of a runner who overthinks every stride, forcing each movement. They burn out quickly. But the runner who trusts the rhythm, who lets the body flow, finds endurance, speed, and grace. That's surrender in motion, efficiency born from trust. Your nervous system is the same. When you control, you activate survival circuits: fight, flight, freeze. Your body contracts, your signal scrambles. When you surrender, you activate safety circuits, parasympathetic flow. Your body expands, your field clears. Suddenly, the intention you set earlier has a path to travel. You don't stop moving forward, you stop blocking the way. That's the art of surrender. And here's the most surprising truth. Surrender doesn't mean you lose control. It means you shift the control from the conscious mind, limited, fearful, linear, to the deeper intelligence of coherence. The same intelligence that heals wounds without your conscious effort. The same intelligence that regulates the billions of processes inside you. That's the intelligence you trust when you surrender. Not passivity, but partnership with a deeper order. Think of the theater again. The actor who tries to micromanage every line feels stiff, unnatural. The actor who surrenders into the role comes alive, magnetic, unforgettable. Reality responds the same way. When you surrender into the identity you've rehearsed, confident, abundant, aligned, you stop acting and start being. That being broadcasts louder than any effort could. So surrender is not stepping away from manifestation. It is stepping into the state where manifestation becomes inevitable, not by control, by coherence, not by forcing, by flowing, not by grasping, by allowing. And in the next unfolding, I want to take you into the mechanics of identity itself, how your repeated rehearsals literally rewire your neurobiology, and why shifting identity is not just a mindset trick, but the quantum collapse that determines which version of reality you walk into. Identity is the true engine of manifestation, not the passing thoughts, not the wish list, but the self you rehearse every day without realizing it. Neuroscience makes this clear. Your brain builds networks around the identity you repeat. If you keep saying, "I'm unlucky, I'm behind, I'm not enough," the neurons fire, the chemistry reinforces, and the body remembers. You literally sculpt a version of yourself that the field then mirrors back. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being. Imagine someone who constantly says, "I'm always broke." Even when they get a small raise, their spending patterns and emotional state unconsciously guide them back to scarcity. Their nervous system is calibrated to lack, their posture slouches into it, and their mind rehearses it on loop. They don't realize they're not manifesting scarcity anew, they're maintaining the identity that guarantees it. Now picture someone else who begins rehearsing, not just in thought, but in body, the identity of someone who trusts money, who feels safe in abundance. Their shoulders lift, their breath steadies, their brain forms new synaptic connections. Slowly, their nervous system learns a new baseline. Abundance is safe, and once safety is established, new opportunities can be perceived and received. This is not wishful thinking, it's neuroplasticity. Every new identity is a new neural network, and every new network broadcasts a new electromagnetic signature. That's the bridge between biology and quantum physics. Who you believe yourself to be is literally altering the probability field around you. Which means manifestation isn't about convincing the universe to give you something. It's about convincing your body to believe in the identity that naturally attracts it. Think of an athlete who calls themselves a runner. They don't ask, "How do I motivate myself to run?" Running flows from identity. Or a musician who embodies the identity of artist. They don't force themselves to pick up their instrument. It's who they are. Manifestation is the same. When you embody the identity of someone aligned with love, or freedom, or abundance, the behaviors flow, the opportunities resonate, and the field aligns to confirm it. Identity collapses timelines. And here's the deeper truth. Your identity is not fixed. The brain can rewire. The nervous system can recalibrate. The quantum field can collapse differently. But only when you stop rehearsing the old identity and start practicing the new one. Every thought you repeat, every posture you hold, every emotion you embody is a vote for the self you are becoming. And enough votes collapse reality into that version. Let's take a daily life example. Someone goes through a breakup. If they rehearse the identity of abandoned, unworthy, alone, their brain wires that network, their body confirms it, and reality mirrors it back through more experiences of rejection. But if they instead rehearse, gently and consistently, I am whole, I am free, I am learning love, their nervous system starts to shift. The body feels safer. The brain creates new networks. Slowly, the field responds with different opportunities, different connections, different outcomes. Identity is not abstract. It's practical, embodied, and measurable. And here's the paradox. You don't wait for evidence to change identity. You change identity, and evidence rushes to catch up, not by proof, by practice, not by outcome, by embodiment, not by waiting, by becoming. In the next flow, I want to take you into the heart-brain connection, how coherence between them is the ultimate amplifier of identity, and why, when the heart and brain sync, manifestation accelerates from theory into tangible reality. The heart and brain are not separate command centers. They are a single system in dialogue, and this dialogue determines the strength and clarity of your manifestation signal. Neuroscience shows that the heart sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. That means your mental clarity is often downstream of your emotional and physiological state. When your heart rhythm is jagged from stress, fear, or doubt, it sends incoherent signals upward, which scrambles thought, narrows perception, and locks you into survival mode. But when your heart enters coherence, a smooth, rhythmic pattern, it sends signals of safety and harmony to the brain. Suddenly your prefrontal cortex lights up, higher-order thinking returns, creativity expands, and your body broadcasts a clear, resonant field. Think of someone preparing for a presentation. If they're anxious, their heart races irregularly, their breath shortens, their thoughts scatter. They stumble through, reinforcing the identity of, I'm not confident. But if they pause, breathe deeply, regulate their heart rhythm before speaking, their brain receives coherence, ideas flow, words align, and their embodiment projects presence. The difference wasn't just mindset, it was physiology. Their heart-brain signal determined the reality they stepped into. Here's the deeper layer. Physics tells us coherence amplifies the electromagnetic field around you. That means when your heart and brain sync, your signal becomes stronger, clearer, and more magnetic. You're not just thinking positive. You're literally radiating a coherent wave that the field can reflect back with precision. This is why people talk about magnetic presence. It isn't mystical, it's measurable coherence. Consider another scenario. Someone walking into a social gathering after scrolling social media and feeling inadequate. Their heart rhythm is incoherent, their thoughts filled with comparison, their body withdrawn. They don't attract connection, they repel it. Now imagine instead, they enter after spending a few minutes regulating their breath, feeling gratitude, aligning their heart with their brain. They walk in open, calm, embodied. Suddenly conversations flow, people gravitate toward them, opportunities emerge. Same person, different field. The shift was coherence. And this is where manifestation accelerates, because coherence is the state where thought and feeling are not at war. The mind says one thing, the body broadcasts the same, and the field receives a unified instruction. That's why results often come out of nowhere when someone truly embodies coherence. The outcome didn't appear randomly. The signal finally became clear. Think of an orchestra again. If the strings and percussion are out of sync, the music is noise. But when they align under a conductor, the sound becomes powerful, moving, undeniable. Your heart is the conductor. Your brain is the orchestra. When they sync, your life plays in harmony, and harmony is magnetic. So if you want to accelerate manifestation, stop thinking harder and start sinking deeper. Not by pushing, by harmonizing, not by forcing clarity, by embodying coherence, not by waiting for proof, by broadcasting proof through your state. If this teaching is resonating with you, share one word in the comments. The state of coherence you're choosing to practice today. Because even declaring it begins to align your heart and brain to the same frequency. In the next unfolding, I want to show you how this all comes together in the daily moments, how ordinary choices, like the way you breathe in traffic or the way you posture while sending an email, are actually the hidden levers that steer your manifestation more than any big ritual ever could. It's in the ordinary moments that your true manifestation power reveals itself. Not the big rituals, not the vision board marathons, but the quiet, unnoticed choices you make in the flow of daily life. Because every small act is a rehearsal. Every posture, every breath, every micro-thought is casting a vote for the identity you are embodying, and those votes accumulate until they collapse reality. Think of the moment you're stuck in traffic, hand gripping the wheel. Most people tense up, jaw locked, breath shallow, rehearsing impatience. That state doesn't end when the traffic clears. It imprints. It teaches your body that tension is normal and that frequency leaks into the rest of your day, shaping the opportunities you notice and the way others respond to you. Now imagine instead you take that same moment and use it as a portal. You drop your shoulders, slow your breath, tune your heart rhythm. Suddenly the frustration becomes fuel. You've transformed a meaningless delay into a coherence practice. That single choice shifts your transmission. Another scenario, writing an email. One version of you writes it in a rush, shoulders collapsed, nervous system in urgency. The words carry that frequency, and the response you receive echoes it. Another version of you pauses, breathes, expands into coherence before typing. The words align, the energy transmits clarity, and the response reflects it. Most people underestimate how much their embodiment infuses even digital communication. But every message is energy encoded, and your nervous system is the encoder. Or think of someone scrolling social media at night. They see a friend's success, feel the sting of comparison, collapse inward. That collapse isn't private, it's rehearsal. The nervous system logs it as, "I'm behind," and tomorrow, reality mirrors that script back with more experiences of lack. But if in that very moment they catch it, shift their posture, breathe into gratitude, embody expansion, the rehearsal changes. They begin casting votes for a new identity. That's manifestation at its most practical. Not in the rare peak moments, but in the everyday rehearsals. Here's the truth. The extraordinary emerges from the ordinary. The field is not waiting for your perfect ritual, it's responding to your continuous signal. That signal is shaped less by the grand gestures and more by the micro-choices. Not the meditation retreat once a year, but the way you enter a room, the way you hold your body while speaking, the way you breathe when no one's watching. Those moments are the transmission towers of your life, and this is why manifestation isn't about adding more effort. It's about subtracting unconsciousness, removing the autopilot rehearsals that broadcast incoherence and replacing them with embodied choices that broadcast clarity. In other words, you don't manifest by trying harder. You manifest by rehearsing better. You rehearse the self you choose moment by moment until it's no longer a rehearsal. It's just who you are. So the next time you find yourself in a micro scenario, traffic, email, scrolling, remember, this is the practice ground. The small is the portal to the vast. The ordinary is the stage for the extraordinary. Not by chasing big outcomes, by embodying small consistencies. Not by waiting for someday, by rehearsing today. And in the final unfolding, I want to bring everything together, to show you why manifestation isn't something you start, but something you refine, and how remembering this truth frees you from struggle and places you in partnership with the natural intelligence of reality itself. Manifestation is not a switch you flip, it's the current you are already riding. You've been manifesting since the moment you were aware, through your thoughts, your emotions, your body's responses, your identity rehearsals. The question has never been, am I manifesting? The real question is, am I manifesting unconsciously or deliberately? And once you see that, the struggle ends. Because manifestation is not about beginning, it's about refining the signal you are already broadcasting. Think of a painter. They don't sit down to start painting with every brushstroke. They are always in relationship with the canvas, adjusting, layering, refining. Reality is your canvas, and your state is the brush. Some days you paint with stress, some days with gratitude, some days with doubt, but the canvas never stops recording. The masterpiece of your life is not created in one session. It's the accumulation of every stroke, every choice, every embodied rehearsal. This is why freedom begins the moment you stop asking, "How do I manifest?" and start asking, "What am I manifesting right now?" Because whether you're conscious of it or not, your body, brain, and field are transmitting in every moment. And the good news, you don't need to control the whole picture, you only need to refine the state you're in right now. That's the only brush you ever hold. Imagine someone walking through a doorway. In one timeline, they enter tense, self-conscious, rehearsing unworthiness. The room reflects it back with coldness. In another timeline, the same person enters embodied, open, coherent, rehearsing confidence. The room reflects it back with warmth. That doorway wasn't mystical, it was physics, a field responding to a signal, which means every doorway you walk through today, literal or metaphorical, is another chance to refine the broadcast. And here's the most liberating truth. You don't need to get manifestation right. Because you can't not manifest. Even when you rehearse fear, you're manifesting. Even when you collapse into doubt, you're manifesting. The power is not in perfection, it's in awareness. The moment you realize you've been broadcasting something you don't want, you've already shifted. Awareness interrupts the old rehearsal, and from that interruption, you can choose coherence again. This is the science and the mystery working as one. Neuroplasticity ensures the brain can rewire. Nervous system regulation ensures the body can recalibrate. The quantum field ensures probability can collapse differently, which means no matter how long you've rehearsed an old identity, change is always available. Manifestation is not something you wait for. It is something you refine moment by moment, identity by identity, state by state. So let this be your remembrance. You can't not manifest. You never could. The play is always on, the orchestra always playing, the canvas always taking on color. The only choice you have is whether you paint unconsciously or deliberately, whether you rehearse discord or harmony, whether you embody lack or coherence, not by forcing, by aligning, not by chasing, by becoming, not by someday, by now. And if you're ready to keep exploring how science and spirit meet, how coherence turns from concept to lived reality, hit subscribe and join this community of alignment. Because the masterpiece of your life is already unfolding, and together we refine the brushstroke,